असङ्गोऽहं पुनः पुनः सच्चिदानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तोऽहम् निराकारोऽहमव्ययः भूमानन्दस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्योऽहं निरवध्योऽहम् निराकारोऽहमच्युतः परमानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः शुद्धचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् आत्मा रामोऽहमेव च अखण्डानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रत्यक्षचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् शान्तोऽहं प्रकृतेः परः शाश्वतानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तत्त्वातीतपरात्माहम् मध्यातीतः परशिवः मायातीतपरञ्ज्योतिः अहमेवाहमव्ययः नानारूपव्यतीतोऽहम् चिदाकारोऽहमच्युतः सुखरूपस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः माया तत्कार्यदेहागी मम नास्त्येव सर्वदा स्वप्रकाशैकरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः गुणत्रयव्यतीतोऽहम् ब्रह्मादीनां च साक्ष्यहम् अनन्तानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः कूटस्थः सर्वभूस्म्यहम् सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः द्वन्द्वादिसाक्षिरूपोऽहम् अचलोऽहं सनातनः सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रज्ञानघन एवाहम् विज्ञानघन एव च अकर्ताहम् अभोक्ताहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः निराधारस्वरूपोऽहम् सर्वाधारोऽहमेव च आप्तकामस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तापत्रयविनिर्मुक्तः देहत्रयविलक्षणः अवस्थात्रयसाक्ष्यस्मि अहमेवाहमव्ययः दृग्दृश्यौ द्वौ पदार्थौ स्तः परविलक्षणौ दृग्ब्रह्मदृश्यं मायेति सर्ववेदान्तडिण्डिमः अहं साक्षीति यो विद्यात् विविच्यैवं पुनः पुनः स एव मुक्तः स विद्वान् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः घटकुड्यादिकं सर्वं मृत्तिकामात्रमेव च तद्वद्ब्रह्म जगत्सर्वम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः ब्रह्म सत्यं जगन्मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मैव नापरः अनेन वेद्यं सच्छास्त्रम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः अन्तर्ज्योति बहिर्ज्योतिः प्रत्यग्ज्योतिः परात्परः ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम् ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम्।
Sahana vavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavitvaram. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhirya Jatraha Sthirairange Istuštuvagum Sastanuvihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruttashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Starksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are seeing beautiful mantras on Atma Tattvam and how this Atma is immutable, how this Atma is beyond all manifestation, and yet if anything manifests, it is only because of this Atma that things are capable of being. We left off discussing mantra number 7 on page 91. This second Mundaka, second section, 7th mantra. This entire beautiful section is a section on contemplation, and only when we sink our mind in this Atma Tattvam properly, the mind itself takes the form of the higher as per the guidance of the buddhi. The buddhi has to be informed intellect, and one type of information is the words which are uttered from the Shruti via the mouth of the teacher. So Shruti Janita Vakya Upadesha, and when that Upadesha is apprehended, when it is Grahanam is done through Shravanam, that itself modifies the buddhi and makes the buddhi Tikshna Buddhi and Sukshma Buddhi. And to the extent that this Buddhi is capable of becoming Sukshma, to that extent the Buddhi is capable of keeping this mind in its own control. It is the nobility of the Buddhi that can harness the mind to come in its orbit. And when the mind comes in the orbit of this Tikshna Buddhi, which is Samshay Rahita, sharp intellect without any doubts, when it pierces through and keeps that mind in this orbit, it is the mind that brings about exclusive devotion towards the higher. Otherwise, this higher cannot be reached. It is easy to develop devotion for one's own child, spouse, even job. And of course, people have all types of devotion towards objects and dogs and cats and money and everything. But to develop devotion for something which is not seen, something which is not heard, something which is beyond taste and feeling, and to completely pour the very vitality of the existence in that direction, it requires a great amount of faith in Shastra, in Guru, and the fact that I am not going to be misled, and that conviction of the mind with the teachings of the Buddhi which it has gathered, that alone can give the bhavana of deep contemplation. And these mantras are to help facilitate just that. When we dive into the Shruti with the support of the teacher who becomes the Sakshat Pratishtha Murti of what is talked about, and based upon that higher, we cannot even call it the experience of the teacher, but the teacher speaks from that pedestal itself. Then the pedestal is put into words and it is animated by the very presence of the teacher. And this union, this divine holy wedlock of Shastra and Guru keeps the mind right over there with the Buddhi within, because that becomes the Sakshat proof of what is just words of our Shastra. So when it is said, Sa Sarvajna Sarvavit Yasyesha Mahima Bhuvi Divyo Brahmapure Yesha Vyomni Atma Pratishtitaha, Shankaracharya ji very beautifully declared over here. We saw this, Yasarvajna, Sarvavit, all those, Divyo, Hyayatma, all those things, Yasyesha Mahima Bhuvi. This is absolute inspiration as to what is the Mahima. We saw this beautiful section, and this Shankar Bhashya on Yasyesha Mahima Bhuvi is to keep the mind intact over there. And in this way, Asya Loke Yasya Sa Esha Sarvagna Evam Mahima Devo Divyo Dhyotanavati Sarva Bauta Pratyaya Kruta Dhyotane. That this luminous self which is talked about slowly, pratibodha viditam matam, bodham prati, every thought that lines, every thought that arises on the very fabric of this mind and intellect, the minute the thought arises, I am led to the very support of the thought, and this only comes with upasana. It comes with upasana. And the amount of mantra japa done, the amount of pouring of the mind at the altar of devotion, only then the Brahma Jnana sadhana can be done of simple observation of the thought. As simple as a thought observation becomes a laudable task for an unrestrained mind and intellect. We will sit over here and mentally kill the mental flies. Nothing will happen. But when the mind is prepared, that mind will be able to go into this flight of this divyo hya atma, that this lining of the thought, and it is not the thought which is paid attention to, so one is no longer even disturbed by the thought. Let the thought be, but they see the glory and the nobility of the ability of even the consciousness to illumine this thought. And when internally it is seen, the thought no longer bears any type of strength. No matter how vulgar, no matter how divine, the thought remains a thought, but it is the light which illumines. That attention shift becomes the important Brahma Jnana sadhana in these stages of this deep meditation. Brahmapure Brahmanaha atra Chaitanya Swarupena. This Brahman, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, we saw that which is the Nimitta Upadana Karana, that which is the cause of this matter. But now conviction comes that that which is the cause of the matter, I am not interested in that matter. But this Brahman rises as the Chaitanya Swarupena. I only hold on to the Chaitanya aspect, because right now the sadhana is on the inside. First, Aham Brahmasmi has to arrive before the arrival of Ayamatma Brahma. Without Aham Brahmasmi, Ayamatma Brahma is futile. It will not come. Inspiration was given as this Yasyesha Mahima Bhuvi. It is the glory of Ayamatma Brahma. It is for the inspiration to lock the mind with the intellect of the bodh which is given. But the bodh is for Aham Brahmasmi. The Upadesh of Tattvamasi Mahavakya is to create a prama, it is to create a thought of Brahman. Vritti Jnanam. It is still a thought of Brahman, and the thought is that I am Brahman, that this Chaitanya which illumines all thoughts is Brahman. And that is talked about over here as when it is said Brahmapure, in this fortress of the city of 11 gates or the city of 9 gates. In this city is this ever-present awareness in this Puram as Chaitanya Swarupena, Ahamaham iti Sakshat Atmarupena Bhati, Nitya Nityabhivyakta, Nitya Abhivyakta, ever it is available, it is available, it is available, moment to moment to moment, its presence is there. Brahmanaha Puram Hrudaya Pundarikam Tasmin Divya Vyomni Tasmin Vyomni Akasha Hrut Pundarikam Madhye Pratishtita Iva Uppalabhyate. In the very space of that mind and the intellect, Hrudaya Akasha. Hrudaya Akasha, it is a confluence of the mind and the intellect. The intellect provides the vritti jnana. Mind provides the inspiration to stay with the vritti jnana so that the mind is not fragmented and runs here and there. That inspired mind provides the devotion even to the vritti jnana. I have not yet seen Brahman. I have not yet felt the kana of this entire universe is reverberating in the presence of Brahman, is understanding. And to stay with that understanding, it is a union, the confluence of buddhi and mana pravaha, and over here it is called Hrut Pundarikam Akashe. In this Akash, meaning the internal space, in the internal vast expanse of the third eye. When we enter that, we have entered the lotus space. Language is used, lotus space means, but we know that the lotus he sits on is visible universe is 93 million light years. It's a vast lotus he sits upon. The internal lotus is the infinitude which yet takes place as aham, I am. So even though infinite, yet known. And these two contrary ideas come together. Known, we think of it as objective, but this is subjective presence. And yet it is infinite. How can infinity be known? It defines the concept of infinity, but yet it happens because the buddhi becomes sukshma and sukshma and sukshma. It spreads on the vast canvas of the internal Hridaya Akash. So don't think that the internal Hridaya Akash has boundaries of the human body. It is vast beyond. And in that pratishtita, iva upalabhyate, it is as though its pratishtha is done, like a pratishtha we do of a murti. But this is nirgun murti. The avahanam of nirguna nirakar murti, and its puja is the akhand akara pravaha of my mind. That is the puja over here. Nahridaya akashavat sarvagatasya gatihi agatihi pratishtha va anyatha sambhavati. We think of, the gati as going over there, but there is no going and coming, going and coming. This nirgun nirakar is ever present. It ever is. We have to lead our mind's awareness to it by buddhi's direction. Bas. That is called going, quote unquote, towards Brahman. Again, there is no going. It is only shifting the attention limitations of language, what to do. Now this is the Nirgun description of Paramatma. This is the Satchidananda Swarup, and the Satchidananda Swarup, in this way it has to be meditated, in this way it has to be continuously thought about. In the seat of meditation, this vritti pravaha should go on, and these mantras should help us facilitate going towards it. That is the purpose behind it. Now, once in a while, as our own mental makeup, and sometimes the mind is disturbed, so the mind starts vibrating and shaking because of the desires. I have to do this, I have to go over there. So then the mind, raised all the way to this step, it falls. So when it falls, catch it, and we have to take it slowly up. And when we take it to that nirguna, we have to guide this mind by this saguna. So now the saguna aspect of the Brahman is talked about. The nirguna aspect was just explained. Now, since in the seat of meditation, this mind, because of the karmic vasanas and all those things, it slips out of this vritti pravaha. And when it falls out of vritti pravaha into the pool of duality, the glory of Shruti, she picks up the pool of duality and tells the mind, understand what the pool of duality is. That is the beauty of this mantra, Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta. You may fall down in this mental sheath. You may further fall down into the Pranamaya Kosha. You may fall down into the Annamaya Kosha. Why? You are seated and the legs which are folded in the Ardha Padmasana or Padmasana or Swastikasana, they start hurting. So the mind which is way up there, the body brings the mind's attention to that Ardha Padmasana, shift yourself, and the mind is disturbed. So from that great nirguna pravaha which is going on, from there I fall down to this body consciousness. Now the body has come. Yes, my foot is hurting, or yes, the day is hot, whatnot. That's why we make all proper adjustments before we sit, so we are not disturbed. But in case if we are disturbed, now over here Bhagavan, over here none other than Brahmaji himself is the Brahma Vidya Acharya. He says, Saha Atma Tatrasthaha. That Atma right there, available in that union, attempt at the union with self in that Samadhi Avastha. My attempt at Samadhi at that time, understand when it falls out, Mano Vritti Bhireva Vibhavyate. In the Nirguna, when you are trying to reach over there, understand of the Atma as the one which is illumining all thoughts of the mind, all thoughts of the mind. It is a very, very subtle operation done. Physicians do these great operations of going inside the heart and changing the valve, and at the same time keeping the heart alive, and it is such a complicated thing. This is operation on the subtle heart, and the subtle heart of the mind. And the operation is the separation of vritti and atma. That is the operation done in this dhyan avastha. Dhyan is not just sitting and doing nothing. It is a great surgery. If this is the cardiothoracic surgery, that is a mental, manomaya, vijnanamaya surgery. And in that surgery, the matter is separated from consciousness. Matter is separated from consciousness. Matter is the vritti, and that which illumines the vritti is the Atma. So I hold on to Atma, and that is what is explained by Shankaracharya ji over here, that tatrastaha, where in that attempt of samadhi, manovritti bihi, you have turned away from all that, and that mind, silence mind, but still vritti flow is there, and in that vritti, taking the vritti and separating the matter and consciousness and looking at the consciousness, oh Atma. It said over here, manovritti bihi eva vibhavyate. Iti manomaya. So in that manomaya kosha, I have separated the kosha and the Atma. That's why it is called kosha. So I have separated the kosha stuff. And now, Chaitanya. So if we fall at the vritti level, do this. Then, mana upaditvat prana sharira neta pranascha shariram cha prana shariram tasyayam neta sthulat sharirat sharirantara prati. So manomaya prana sharira neta. Then from the manomaya I fall to the pranic sharir. Now I have dropped a little bit further from the mind. I am coming to the pranamaya kosha. What is pranamaya kosha? I am feeling the gas inside my stomach. Sometimes our stomach growls. Sometimes burping comes, coughing comes. The origin of all this is pranamaya kosha. That coughing, urdhva gamanam vayu. So now, when that happens, don't get caught up in the cough, don't get caught up in the gas. Look at that as this pranamaya sharira neta. It is a leader of that it is the Atma which is behind this unrest of the stomach. Even the subtle elements of the food moving through the intestine, you will be able to feel. That is why when I lead people into meditation, I bring the attention to the heart and I say, feel your heartbeat. We can feel it. How? Through the pranamaya kosha. We can feel it in our throat. When the Ayurvedic doctor takes the pulse, you should be able to feel your own pulse. When the hand is resting on the knee and when it presses over there, we can feel our own pulse. We can feel the pulse over here, we can feel the pulse over here, we can feel the pulse in the ear. This is called the awakening, heightening of our senses, and this is how we keep our attention towards the higher. So these are all things to be, when we do our sadhana properly, all these things will be revealed. The movement, the throbbing of the heart, the movement of the food. If you're drinking water, you can feel the water, not because the water is hot or cold. Yes, of course, when you get the brain freeze from eating ice cream, that is completely different. We are talking about as we are eating food. When the morsel of that food travels, we feel the whole esophagus. You will know every part of the Brahmand. Which Brahmand? This local Brahmand. In this way, he is, he meaning capital H-E, this Parabrahma Paramatma, Manomaya Upadi Tvat Prana Sharira Neta. Pranascha Shariram Cha Pranaha. What is Pranascha Sharira? That Sharira, we think of Pranasva, Apanasva, Vyanasva, it is a Sharira. You should be able to see it, feel it. The mental separation operation is done of the matter stuff, the consciousness stuff. In the same way, now we have to do the surgery of the Pranamaya Kosh, what is matter and what is Chaitanya. So as you are feeling the pranic sharir, see the enlivening force in it. Then even a burp will become a divine thing. Yes, it is a natural function of a Pranamaya Kosha, but I have separated the Kosha and I am holding on to Atma. In that burp, in that stomach movement, in that pulse of the heart. All this, these great yogis are capable of doing it. We may not get the full darshan of Brahmand and it is not even required. But up to an extent, few things we should be able to, especially like the heartbeat, the pulse, and the movement of the GI tract and all those things, we will be able to, because it is little bit more sthula. So Pranavayu can be known, Apanvayu can be known. People can rise to the level of doing pranayam without the beating. They will activate the Ida, they will activate the Pingala. They can do that because the attention is on the Pranamaya Kosha and the whole Ida, Pida, Shumna is the Pranik Sharir. And the whole Pranik Sharir, they can see various energy confluence points in the entire Pranik Sharir. Those trained will be able to, if we can just in the Pranamaya Kosha separate the awareness from the functions of the prana, the beating and so on and so forth. Sharira tasya neta sthulat sharirat sharirantara prati. This sthula sharira, learn to observe it. Learn to observe it. We start from it, see it as a divine Gopuram. Gopuram. Puram, village. Go, senses. It is a village of senses. The entire temple that we see on the outside actually is to teach us about this temple. That is the glory of our great people who left behind such legacies. So this itself is Gopuram. As we enter it, we have entered this village. And how can we see it? First, we have to see a Govinda. Gonam Vindati, the one who conquers the senses. Sthula senses, which are the 5 on the perimeter, the 4 in the 4 cardinal directions, and actually the fifth one is not seen because it is the support of the entire temple. The earth itself becomes the 5th Gopuram. The 4 are the 4 directions, the 5th one. Then as we enter it, you will walk through these great halls. Why does a architect go through providing such deep hallways of Rameshwaram, Ekambareshwaram, or these great halls that you walk through in Tiruvananthapuram? These are the hallways, the Sukshma Nadis in which this royal Atma walks. As you are walking through these chambers in the outside temple, you must have an understanding that inside this Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta, when he comes to do the Parikrama, Utsav Murti goes around, that Utsav Murti which is kept in Sanctum Sanctorum also has to see its glory. And its glory is every granite pillar is a Nadi. And it goes through and sees the great artwork on each one of them. As we walk through this entire massive hallway, if you've been to any one of these temples, actually that is what is inside. Don't think that it's a massive hall just created for nothing. It is to teach us that Atma roams about in such grandeur place within. So that is Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta. In that Prana Sharira, each granite pillar will be seen, the uniqueness of that pillar, the instructions given by that Nadi, and everything opens up. Then you have the full darshan of the local Brahmand. That is called Aham Brahmasmi. You will see every single pillar, every single Nadi, every single thing. And this is the silencing of the vrittis. As you are traveling through the vritti pravaha, you will see your own glory on the inside. And having gone around the whole thing, now you will enter the sanctum. And there is no priest stopping you from going inside. That's the glory of this sanctum. You can walk right in. But preparation allows us to walk in. Otherwise, the only person is saying Jaragandi, Jaragandi over there is our desires. It will not allow us to enter. Move. And we move away from that sanctum. But when it is silenced, we enter that. Thus, this whole description is Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta Pratishtita Atra Hrudayam Sannidhaya. Where? Right over here, nowhere else. Pratishtita Avashita Anne Bhujyamane Anna Anna Viparimane Pratidinam Upachiyamane Apachiyamane Cha Pinda Rupat Anne Hrudayam Buddhi Pundarika Chidre Sannidhaya Samavasthapya. So that person over here, Shankaracharya ji is saying that this Sharira Neta, it is a leader of it. And as like I explained in these massive temples, it is shown what is inside, the whole inside world. And then how are each one of these things coming? Avasthita anne bhujyamane. As we are eating anna bhujyamane, as it is being eaten, food, I will be reminded of the glory that this food is building on the inside, because the whole thing is kept intact. Outside, yes, it is a granite pillar for me to visualize it and see it, but as I am eating, the food goes to construct this massive temple on the inside, and the repair work that goes on as annam bhujyamane api, as I am eating, pratidinam, every day, apachiya upachiya, the body expands, the body contracts, we lose weight, we gain weight. As all this is happening, I am able to see the glory of Atma. I am seeing the food not as food. That food is seen as Sakshat Bhagavati Annapurne, and as with the food she is creating things on the inside, and the play of Prakriti is readily seen. This noble is a person who sees all these things. So as they are eating, they are not seeing the food which is in the plate, they are seeing the parakram of the food, what creates this massive fortress which is available to them. And this apachiya upachiya cha pundari rupam anna hrudayam, that annam creates the hrudayam. What is that? Mana buddhim cha, the same annam is creating this buddhi. And that is how I separate matter and consciousness. So in the physical level also I have separated matter and consciousness. I am observing the power of the matter and what matter can do. The whole prana sharir it can create, the nadis it can create, the mind it can create, vritti. And now as this buddhi, it can create this resolved understanding. So I have performed an operation at every level, and I have separated matter and consciousness, matter and consciousness. Hridaya avasthanam eva hi atmanah sthiti na hi atmanah sthiti anne. Will be able to see that all this is a glory of Annam. This glory of Annam is glory of Atma. Atma can do all these things, and yet at the same time it can remain Nirgun Nirakar. Wonder of wonder. How it behind the matter can create a matter fortress, within the matter fortress, subtle matter fortress, within the subtle matter fortress, a channel to move about, and within that, the beauty of the channel to stay inside, knowledge of the buddhi, and then enter the sanctorum. Ah, I am. This darshan is given by Upanishad. Tad atma tattvam vijnanena vishishtena shastra acharya upadesha janitena jnanena shamadama dhyana sarvatyaga vairagya udbhutena paripashyanti. Again, without a guru and shastra, none of this is available. Shankaracharya ji repeats this, not that he wants to create work for his disciples, but he knows that this is the only way. How many people go to Tiruvananthapuram? How many people go to all these temples? Who knows what all this is? Go over there, crack a coconut, eat shakkar pongal and wipe on the fingers on that same granite and walk out. We've ruined our temples. If we understood what each one of these pillars stand for, that this is my glory. So each who understands this, Acharyavan Purusha Jnanam. Acharya is required, and he says, Tat Atma Tattvam, this Atma Tattva, such glory of this Atma, Vijnanena, Vishishtena, which is to be known, specifically this Atma which is known, how? Shastra, Acharya, Upadesha, Janitena, Jnanena. Jnanena, it has to be known by knowledge. We'll go backwards. Jnanena. What type of knowledge? Any type of know. Whose Upadesha? Shastra, Acharya, Upadesh. Born out of scriptures such as Mundaka Upanishad. Plus Mundaka Upanishad, not just sitting at a coffee table and watching some YouTube video and trying to make sense of it. We have ample of YouTube gurus. We can try. It has to be a person who has learned in this manner, who teaches in this manner, because this knowledge has to be created in an individual. Through how? Next line says, Shama, Dama, Dhyana, Sarvatyaga, Vairagya, Udbhutena. How will we acquire that? When we see Chinmayananda, we see Shama. When we see him, we see Dhamma. When we see him, we see Dhyan. In front of such a Mahatma, when we sit and learn, you imagine when Gurudev sat in front of Tapovanam. He is known Tapovanam, he is austerity manifested. Who cannot acquire austerity? Who cannot acquire Vairagya if they are sitting in front of them? If we go in front of Vairagya, we will get Vairagya. If we'll go in front of a person who is a murti of Shama, Dhamma and Dhyan, we will get that. Now, how can we get that from a YouTube? Very difficult. We cannot get the energy of Shama, Dhamma. It has to be acquired. Only a person who has acquired Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, all these things, we have to go to a live Guru, where all these things udbhutena, born out of this. Knowledge has to be born out of Shastra, Upadesh, Guru Vachanena, but the Guru has to be Murti of this so that the student gets a wee bit of that. And that helps facilitate the student's growth. And that person alone brings about perfect transformation in a student. That is called paripashyanti. Pashyanti is seeing, paripashyanti in complete entirety, seeing Atma the way it was asked by our Shruti to see. And the teacher did that attempt to see in the same method. And that is why, otherwise, why would Shruti declare all these Manomaya, Prana, Sharira, Neta, all these things? We all know it. But it has to be brought to our mental assertion by a buddhi which has gone through it. The buddhi has to have a glimpse of it. Otherwise, we will miss out on this. The word meaning of it is body. It is Pran Sharir. But how? A teacher has to supply all that. So, that is why this section, he ends this very nicely. Shankaracharya ji summarizes this because tad vijnanena paripashyanti dhiraha anand rupam amrutatvam yad vibhati. This anand rupam amrutatvam, it vibhati, it shines, vibhavayati cha, and it makes the Annamaya shine, it makes the Pranamaya shine, it makes the Manomaya shine, it makes the Vijnanamaya shine. And in this way, all this is clearly seen. And all those confusions are unraveled. All that goes, and that is the next mantra, the unraveling of the knots. But the knots cannot unravel by itself. We have to even know what a knot is, which knot, where knot. Then it can open up. In that massive hall, you will find massive Shivalingas. I'm talking about, I went and saw this Ekambareshwaram. Nobody walks in these halls. They'll just go do namaskar. And these Nayanmar saints are there. And a massive Shivalingam for each one of them. Each one of these saints represents a divinity to burst a knot. Don't think they've just put over there for show. There's a purpose behind it. In these massive hallways, these Nayanmar saints are on the inside. But they have to be invoked to help open up all this. And in this way, he is the Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta. He leads. From inside, he opens up all these things, and that person who sees is called Paripashyanti Dhira. Many a people have gone over there and seen the stone lingam, and that person, that great saint, nobody even knows, but each one of them is a representation of, before we act actually arrive at the Shiva Tattva. What is Ashiva has to be removed, and only that noble saint can remove it for us. It is that quality in us that will take us towards Shiva. He is Satyam Shivam Sundaram. There has to be Sundarta. Ugliness can never ever see that Sundarta. How does one become Sundar? Remove all this. So, in this Hridaya Kamala, all these confusions are removed, ugliness is removed, and that is called Paripashyanti Dhiraha. Dhira Purusha, he sees clearly. He is arisen as a beautiful person. Such a majestic nobility on the inside, that person cannot do anything vulgar, dirty, filthy. If we look at Tapovanam, we look at Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, Ramana Maharshi Ji, they are the embodiment of Dhira Purusha. All of those 9 Mars saints are within them. Doing darshan of such a Mahapurusha is the darshan of this. The inner chambers are all open. Every one of the saint is sitting in their respective place. Blessing them, go in the sanctum, go in the sanctum. And what is that sanctum? Ananda Rupam Amrutatvam Yad Vibhati. Ahaha. Only then it arrives. This glory arrives right over there. Anand. There is no confusion. There is no ugliness. This Amrutatvam, ever immortal. I bless myself on the inside, along with all the saints of all time. Put together, they come to bless. This is called Gajalakshmi. Each one of the saints come with a golden pitcher to give me bath on the inside. And this is Amrutatvam Yad Vibhati, and then it shines. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.